Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the FCCT. My name is Hui Yee. I'm a board member of the club as well as bureau chief at the Straits Times. Thank you for joining us for tonight's event. So we've had quite a week. When we first put out the blurb for this event, Thailand's Prime Minister was still Srettha Thavisin. So now it's Per Thai Party's Pe Tong Tan Shinawat, and she's in the midst of putting together a new cabinet. We haven't changed the blurb. Mr. Srettha was, after all, Prime Minister for just a little under a year. So we thought we'll leave it up there for posterity. But it's a good reminder of the kind of political upheavals that we see in this country, and that you have to get used to when you're doing business in Thailand as a foreign investor. So you kind of need nerves of steel. At the FCCT, we see a lot of politicians, we see a lot of analysts, economists, diplomats, human rights activists, but less so people from the business sector. For tonight, we thought we would put together a panel that will give perspectives from the business sector and let them tell us what it's like in Thailand and what they think about developments, what they want to see more of, and what they think would entice foreign investors to grow their investments in this country. All of our speakers tonight have been in Thailand for decades. I kid you not, okay? So in the center, we've got Ms. Vibeke Lyssand, Leirvag. I hope that got it correct. You got it right. She arrived in Thailand in 1989. And she runs Felicia Design, a Norwegian-controlled manufacturer of silver and gold jewelry. She's the president of the Thai-Norwegian Chamber of Commerce, or she was the president of Thai-Norwegian Chamber of Commerce from 2013 to 2017, and currently serves as vice president. She's the chairwoman of the Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand, an umbrella organization that represents 36 foreign chambers. Vibeke is an advisor to the Board of Trade of Thailand and supports the work of the chairman and the executive board in areas of strengthening business, investment, and international relations. On the right, you have Ms. Jacqueline Sim, or Jackie, as we call her. She arrived in 2010. How many decades is that?
Just one. Just one.
She switched from her job at the United Overseas Bank in Singapore to developing her family's business, Venture Group Holdings in Bangkok. She is currently the managing director of the F&B arm of the business, which include the Thai-Chinese Pink's Restaurant Group, which includes Find the Locker Room and Power Puff Curry Puff. Really like that name. She's managing director of Pink's Restaurant Group and has been director of the Singapore Thai Chamber of Commerce since 2011. And then, last but not least, we have Jimmy Chen. He has been in Thailand for 38 years. Okay. He arrived when he was just 4 years old. So it's basically Thai with a Taiwanese passport. He worked in Acer, Fraser's Chintex, before starting his own business, Hurong, engineering and construction company which builds factories. Jimmy is the vice president of the Thai-Taiwan Business Association. So please welcome our panelists for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. So this is how I'm going to start. I'm going to first pose them a few questions. And if at any point in time you have questions you want to raise, please give me a signal, raise your hand, and we'll get a microphone to you. Let me just begin with a very general question to our panelists, right? We've had a fairly dramatic week so far, but based on your experience in Thailand, from your point of view, what is the appeal of Thailand as an investment destination? Feel free to, who wants to go first?
Okay, since I have the least decades here in Thailand, I will start first. I believe, as you all might agree, that Thailand is a very attractive destination. It's a beautiful country. It's very welcoming, very foreigner-friendly, easy place to live in. So that's one of the main appeal of Thailand. The service mind, the hospitality, as well as I think if you can compare the cost of living for the standard of living that we have compared to countries like Singapore and Hong Kong, Taiwan, the nearby countries, you can see that the standard of living is high versus the cost of living versus cost of starting up business. I would say the seeming appeal, the seeming ease to start a business here is also attractive. Despite the language, cultural differences, I would say that Thailand is an easy, comfortable place to live and to consider moving to consider investing, consider retiring. Also, the good infrastructure, the transportation, well developed, minus the traffic jam, as we all know very well. The communication, the IT networks are all well developed, first class, top speed. The location, the strategic location of Thailand is also another attractive point. It's a gateway to ASEAN, its proximity to India, to China, huge markets. So it makes it all how Thailand is attractive. And also the other thing that I would like to add is the size of the population, the size of the audience that it's here. Yeah, that's from my point of view. Yeah.
So the hard part by being second is that you covered a lot of the points that I had.
I'm sure there are more points.
No, but just going back to who I represent today, I'm here on behalf of Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce in Thailand, which represents 36 chambers, around 9,000 companies, and with that 30,000 employees. So it's a sizable group. And in our group, we have, by 36 countries, we also have 36 cultures. On top of that, we have multinationals, we have let's say, bigger corporations, SMEs and MSMEs. So there's a big mix within our group. Now, when you look at what makes Thailand appealing, I would say, for investment, strategic location is absolutely one of the key areas. You have Thailand with 70 million in population, but with the possibility to also expand that into ASEAN, which covers around 670 million. So location-wise, and the opportunities for businesses are very good. Quality of life, you mentioned, and I agree with that. For companies that invest here, quality of life is very important. Most of the time you don't come alone, you come with a family. So quality of food, education, healthcare, and I would like to mention one thing that you didn't say, which is Thailand is quite safe. Mm-hmm. So for foreign families that come here, it's an attractive place to come to. Thailand offers opportunities for quality and growth. It's a place where I think we can see now it's very attractive for the younger generation, for the startups when it comes to technology, work from anywhere. Thailand does have an attraction point on it. innovation, creativity can bring an economic gain to Thailand. So it's an area that also BOI has put in specific areas of benefits on. So I think for Thailand, it does have a lot of attraction, especially now for the newer startups and when it comes to technology, innovation, and AI. In spite of being in a middle income trap at the moment, it's still, workforce still affordable. We see that Thailand is changing from a traditional manufacturing to now having to convert themselves into more innovation and technology. And in this, even though it's attractive to be here, we will face challenges, and those challenges goes very much on reskill, upskills, and new skills. So we can touch a bit on that later.
Thank you. You covered actually almost all of the points. So let me start by my introduction. I'm Jimmy. I represent Thai-Taiwan Business Association here in Thailand. And I'll just add a few more points, which for foreigners that comes to invest in Thailand, we have the board of BOI, Board of Investment, which allows 100% foreign ownership of the company itself, as well as the FBL and the Thai law, Mata 11, which these three allows the foreign 100% ownership in Thailand. Other than that, you need to have more Thai shareholders, right? And corporate tax exemption for BOI, if depending on your grade, it can be up to 13 years of corporate tax exemption, and it can be extended as well, depending on what products you're producing and if you're qualified for it, right? And just last month, the Thai Ministry of Foreign Affairs has released 60 days of tourist visa, which is very friendly for tourists that wants to come visit in Thailand. Free visa, 60 days. It used to be 30, right? And mostly this year, starting from 2002 actually, a lot of Chinese and Taiwanese factories from China moved to Thailand. Yeah, especially you can see the BYD, the electric cars, GWM, all the PCB factories that come from China, they are moving out of China, coming into India, Mexico, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia. And the main reason that you have to know why they're coming out of China. Well, if you remember correctly, just 5 years ago, all the news, all the information out there was saying China was going to be the manufacturing #1 in the world, was going to be the world economy, but just right now, not so anymore. They're moving out. And the reason why, because I would like to talk about the Cantillon effect, which is affecting the Chinese economy right now. Yeah, the reason why they're moving out of China and coming into the ASEAN countries. And the Cantillon effect, Richard Cantillon in the 16th century, that states, I can briefly summarize it into 7 steps. Right? Step 1, you have to be a producer of something. You have to be a manufacturer of something, right? So when you produce more than you need, you can start to go to step 2, which is export. When you export, right? When you export, you bring the new money in, which is actually the flow of money into your nation. And when you get the new money that comes in, step 3, increase your the standard of living. You start to buy more food, buy more clothing, cars, houses, right? And after you start to increase your standard of living, you go to step 4, which is you go into luxuries. You start to go on vacation more because go to bars, spend more money on leisure, vacations, right? And when you go to step 4, you start to have imports. The imports starts to come into your nation, like products manufactured far away starts to come in and compete the distance that it takes to that to come into your nation and sell at a cheaper price. you start to import because the consumption increases. When the consumption increases, right, everything, the prices starts going up, labor starts going up, and when you start to import, that's where the decline starts happening, which is step number 6. Prices starts going up, but you can't keep up anymore. So your manufacturing starts to leave your country, right? This is what happening to China, in my opinion, right? So final step is poverty. When you start to export more money out, when the new money doesn't come in, and then your manufacturing starts to leave the country, going to other countries around, like for example what I just stated before, right? And you start, so all this stuff, they can say that, well, you can try to stop the effect from going on, but it actually takes like, you have to, when you go to step number 4, you stop, you try to not go into luxuries, right? But then it's not human nature, so it's quite inevitable to stop the cycle. So that's what I'm trying to tell. I'm trying to explain like how the cycle is going on. Yeah.
Right. So as a result, we're going to see a lot more Chinese businesses set up shop in Thailand, and Taiwanese as well.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Actually, the Taiwanese companies that come to Thailand right now, they're actually from China.
Ah,
So
okay.
they have factories in China, but
Right.
due to the rise of the labor costs over there, they cannot compete anymore. So they have to move their production out of China into Thailand or Vietnam or Malaysia or India, right? So it's quite difficult for them to stay there now. Yeah.
That's interesting because, if you look at the regional countries that could absorb such investments, right, the question comes up then, like which governments have been more nimble in trying to attract these companies looking to branch out. So let's talk a bit about policy. I mean, all of you have talked a bit about how government policies have helped, but let's talk about what kind of policies you think have been most helpful for businesses over the years, at least from your perspective. Maybe we can start with, yeah, sure.
So I think as Jimmy has mentioned, the relaxation on visa for tours coming into Thailand, that has been very helpful for in hospitality industry. So this 60 days free visa, that helps a lot. I would also like to mention that like post-COVID times, Thailand was also one of the first few countries that relaxed its borders, which allowed Thailand to enjoy the revenge travel that occurred in all over the world. So I mean, for F&B, for myself in the F&B industry, we actually, once the borders were relaxed, semi-relaxed, we immediately faced a bounce back, recovery on sales back to pre-COVID times. In fact, even better than pre-COVID. So that was extremely useful. Yeah.
Okay. Vibeke?
Should I continue?
Yes,
So,
sure.
Again, talking from FCCT, where there's a mix of multinationals, larger businesses, and SMEs, there are different policies that matters more to, depending on what type of business you are. But as Joint Foreign Chamber of Commerce, we focus on policies that are related to reform or to ease of doing business. So BOI, of course, you mentioned them, Jimmy. BOI is Board of Investment of Thailand. They are the ones that are offering a lot of policies that are good for investors. They have, I think right now, around 14 or 15 target industries, which cover not only the traditional industries, but also tech and talent industries, creative entertainment industry, and BCG, or biocircular green, talent and logistic and business hub. So the area that they cover goes really from the traditional manufacturing to try to include a lot of areas, including service areas, which are not open for non-BOI related companies. Eastern Economic Corridor, EEC, is another area. They go more on newer technology, on robotic, on defense industry, etc. So it's more the bigger investors. I think one of the major investors are from Taiwan. And of course, like you said, EV, but also renewable energy, etc. There's a lot of areas there that they are focusing on. Now, with that, there will be challenges again, because will you have a workforce ready for this type of industries? Industry-specific areas, so if you go on certain industries, they will have certain policies that will help them. But for smaller companies, I think it's very important to realize that in this past year, the SME, or including also the MSME, covers 35% of the GDP. Now, that's a big chunk if you really look at it. So at FCCT, since a big part of our members are the SME, we try to also focus on policies that are important to them. Now, one of the biggest challenges are finance for SMEs. It needs to be simpler, it needs to be easier. So right now, there's a recent policy of soft loans from the government saving bank, but still it's too stringent, it's too difficult. To qualify for a loan is very difficult. So you will see campaigns where they say that there's a lot of soft loans available for the SME, but in principle, it's close to impossible for an SME to get it. And for foreign SMEs, even less possible unless you have your own collateral. One-stop service is, again, an area that is, or policies that are very good. It's normally under BOI, but if you have a turnover of more than 30 million, then you will also qualify in the areas where the one-stop service is available. It's very helpful to have the one-stop service. My company used to be located in Bangkok, and I could go to the one-stop service with both my work permit and visas, and it was done in no time. Now I have moved my factory to Samut Prakan. I'm basically 300 meters out of the Bangkok border, and it's turning out to be a challenge, as is it also, the location of it is very far away from my company. We, in FCCT, we try to advocate for the fact that the ones that really needs the one-stop service and needs the support would be the SMEs. So we hope that one day, or maybe the present government can look at a one-stop service also for them. And then there's been a lot of positive changes also to financial online registrations. So you can file your tax filings, you can do your audited accounts, everything can be done online, which is very good. And this just 1st July, DBD, they launched a new project or a new policy where you can register a company online, and you can also apply for licenses online. The little, let's say, area that they still need to approve is the fact that it's all in Thai. So you would need a lawyer or somebody who knows how to read Thai in order to do it, but it's helpful. And you can also follow the process. So the transparency of the process is very good.
Wow, that's very detailed. Jimmy, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, while it is true that Thailand is a good place to invest due to the infrastructures that's readily available, but the policy makers then can do all they want, because policies, the problem is not caused by the policy makers. They react to the problem. So they can try to bring back right now the manufacturers are coming into Thailand, which is good. We can make policies to try to keep them here, and it may slow the tide and try to slow down the people that try to leave, the manufacturers that try to leave. But due to tariffs, they can subsidize, such as the EV. The government is subsidizing for the EV production, which is why they're coming to Thailand to invest in the first place. And they can drag it out for a long time, right? But they can never stop the economic forces in the background, right? So the only way to stop this is everyone has to, if I'm allowed to quote for our late Ramanan King, which is a brilliant man, he said that "Setakit Popian," which is the only way to stop this is you have to, in order to bring good manufacturing back into the country, you have to save more, produce more, earn less, right? You work more, get paid less, put in more hours for less money, produce quality products, and to compete with the rest of the world, right? And that is the only way. But but that's just not gonna happen because it's not human nature. When you get new money that comes to you, you want to spend the money, you want to enjoy life, right? It takes a conscious mind to say that, okay, well, I'm going to invest this money, I'm going to save this money, right? But that's just not what most of the people, yeah. So this is I'm just sharing this because it's just the way human nature works, right? And we have to understand this nature in order to know where we are at currently, which stage we're at. It may not look exactly the same every time, but if you look back in history, you'll see that it usually falls into one of the 7 steps that I've talked about. So we should be conscious. We should know that where we're at and how we can react to the current state of the economic situation that we're in right now.
It's interesting that you raised the self-sufficiency
Yes.
in the discussion. How would you reconcile that with the current rise in the cost of living and the debates about the raising of the minimum wage, right? Because you mentioned like work more for less money. I'm like,
Yeah,
how do you
it's
square
not
that
human
with the
nature.
rise in minimum wage? Yeah.
Well, you cannot raise the minimum wage because the manufacturing are already at a higher cost of manufacturing. If you raise the cost again, then they won't be here anymore. They will move out. That's what I'm trying to say. They will move out to neighboring countries. For example, just last week, I went to, with Mr. Vibeke. He's the chairman and founder of Amata Industrial Estate to Laos. They are already planning to move the industrial estate. They're developing in Laos right now.
Mm-hmm.
All the 3 major banks in Thailand, I won't say which ones, they're already planning ahead.
Not many major
decades
banks.
ahead.
Okay.
In case the manufacturing move out of Thailand, then maybe Laos will be the next place to go, because right now it's it's a undeveloped country right now. So imagine this. They have a 400 square kilometer of industrial estate developing right now in Laos, right next to the Chinese border. And the policies right there, they're offering 30 years of corporate tax exemption. And 5%
Did you say
of
30?
30 years,
30
30.
years of tax exemption.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes,
Okay.
highest in the world. and then they have 5% of personal income tax flat,
5.
right?
Wow. Okay.
And they're also having an airport inside the industrial estate. Imagine this, China, right next to the border. They can send their semi-products right across the border, assemble it, repackage it, and just the airport is not for passengers. They're for cargo. They can just ship it to Europe or US because Laos has like their hydro power plant, so 95% is green energy, which the Europeans really love, right? And then, okay, hydro power plant. Okay, during the monsoon is fine, but during summer, they'll have to buy back their energy from Thailand or neighboring countries. That's why they're bringing EGAT into play. The Thai government also inside this plan as well. EGAT already invest together.
Careful,
Laos.
you're not giving all of Vikram's secrets away now.
No, no. Actually, he should thank me because I'm promoting his promoting his project for him. But the major players are the Thai people, the elites. They're already planning decades ahead because they see what's coming. You know, because it's human nature. You cannot tell people that okay, if for example you get an inheritance, you get a raise. Don't spend that money. You gotta save it. You gotta invest it. No, it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen, right? So it's cyclical. It's been around for centuries. So it's good. We have to know where the next step will be. Probably Laos. I don't know. This is just my opinion. I'm just giving you the information. You can do whatever you want with your money, right? So I'm giving you the information. So maybe you can consider where you want to invest your next portfolio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
right?
we have given Amata enough.
One more thing.
Yes,
One
yeah.
last thing. You see, if the factories get produced there, even the custom office in Thailand are in it. It takes 1 day for your containers to ship from Laos to Lam Chabang port and export via sea, because Laos is inland, right? The custom office of Thailand is in it too. It's in play too. So everything is connected. It takes just 1 day for your containers to ship out. Just 1 day.
Okay. So your point was that it was inevitable that the Thai companies then would want to move to Laos because the income, the wage there is lower, and the terms are more attractive.
Well, it depends on our policymakers. As I said, that the policymakers are always reacting to the problem. So they can drag this for a very long time. They can be like 20, 30 years ahead, right? We won't probably not be here, right?
Who knows,
to see that
yeah.
happen. But eventually, it will happen. It will take. It's just a matter of time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for maybe you can invest for your kids when they grow up, but we might not be there to see it.
Well, let's think about that. I see Peter there at the mic, so maybe he's got a question. Yes.
Peter Jansen, Business Times, the banker. Jimmy, can I follow up on what you've been talking about? In fact, I'm going to go interview Amata tomorrow, so it's interesting what you say about Laos. Yeah.
Yes.
But you kind of represent the Taiwanese business community here, which has been in Thailand for many years and is very entrenched, yeah? And I wonder when Taiwanese business delegations come to Thailand, what you say to persuade them that Thailand is a better investment location than Vietnam or Laos? Or is it a question of which industries we're talking about? Because obviously something like semiconductors, yes. I don't think Thailand is competitive in semiconductors. Vietnam is very much so. Maybe circuit boards or something like this. I mean, can you sort of give me an idea? You talk about Laos. Yeah, okay, Laos, obviously they're offering some great benefits, but they don't have much labor there, period. You know, don't talk about expensive labor. They just don't have much labor, period, skilled labor. I'm not quite sure what industries would be interested in Laos, and just give us a little quick overview. What industries should be interested, what Taiwanese industries should be interested in Thailand right now? Which ones are going to be going to Vietnam? Which ones might be going to Laos? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your question. First of all, I would like to start with Thailand. The past 2 years, a lot of PCB factories, which has to do with semiconductors and circuit boards, moved here from China, which there are Taiwanese companies that moved here from China. The whole supply chain that will follow here, because they would need to produce for example, Guangda or Innovac, or just to name a few companies that already come here. The whole supply chain that supplies to that company will have to move here together with them, including the contractors as well. They buy land here and then they want to build a factory. They don't use Thai contractors, they use Chinese contractors. They bring the contractor here to build. Yeah, and Vietnam as well. Why don't they go to Vietnam? They already have, but it's full. They don't have enough labor to support That's why they're coming to Thailand. Is that Thailand can import labor from Burma, Cambodia, but not Vietnam. Vietnam, they don't allow foreign workers. And I'd like to mention, just now you asked about Laos labor. You're correct. Right now they don't have enough labor, local labor, but they are very welcome to import foreign laborers to work for them, skilled laborers, which can make up. But I'm not saying it's gonna happen next year or 2 years later. It's gonna take time, probably a decade or two. So it's gonna take a while to happen. Yeah. I hope that answers the question.
FDI across all of Thailand? Because I've been to about 6 or 7 cities within the country, and it seems to me the problem is not direct investment within Bangkok. The problem is developing other cities within Thailand so they can catch up, in a sense, to the economic development within here. Are there incentives, tax credits that are being looked at in order to prevent essentially future political problems similar to the United States, where all of our investment has come into about 10 to 15 different cities, creating a massive conflict politically between the countryside and the mega cities?
Already they are doing that. I mean, if you look at BOI as an example, BOI doesn't cover only, let's say, the 5 biggest provinces. It covers a lot of different provinces in Thailand. If you go on the BOI webpage, you actually see the list of all the provinces. What they have to do, though, is in some of the areas they have to develop the industrial estates before they actually can attract the business. So they have to develop the infrastructure around it. EEC, Eastern Economic Corridor, is in a way is a pilot project from the beginning, and it's a project that has been developed and that the government has invested a lot of money in. They're doing similar things in the south, in the Lyssand area. So the 76 provinces, you will see over the next years that there's more and more investment going into the infrastructure and to prepare it for investment. So I think, I don't know if I can answer how many or where is it going to be first, but there is a lot done on developing other provinces than the, let's say, 5 biggest ones right now.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions from the floor? Yes, Tommy?
Yeah, Tommy Walker, VOA News reporter. I'm also a board member of the FCC. I know, I'm tiptoeing. Just a vague one really for any of you. What we touched on earlier, Thailand's political environment has been dramatic, to say the least. You know, how does that put off future foreign investors? Give me some comments on that. How would people be deterred given the situation in Thailand now? I know we have a new Prime Minister, but things have been very chaotic lately, so yeah, any comments?
Will that put you off investment?
At FCCT, we will work with any new government or any government. So for us, I would say existing investors, they are used to change. And business goes on as normal. I think more than saying we have a change of government here, there are other areas that are challenging for us. So for example, on the trade tension and geopolitical uncertainties, this is areas that will affect investors in Thailand. Will the new government look at the regulations, at reforms? This is, you know, a question we have every single time. So at FCCT, we always stay away from politics, and we very clearly say that our work is to work for ease of doing business and ease of investment. So I'm sorry I can't go too much in depth on that because we will work with the government that is in place.
Okay. Perhaps new investors then. I'm sure people speak to you and ask you what it's like to invest in Thailand. Have you had any concerns about Thailand's political environment from other investors, not yourselves, but maybe new people who are looking to invest here? Is there a concern there? That's my question.
Political stability is important, regardless. So of course there is always, that's one of the areas they will look at. Is there a stability in the political climate? But other areas that they look at right now is also the CPI ranking. Where does Thailand stand in the CPI ranking? Our position is 108 out of 180, which is not good. So this is something that the government is working on, or present government was working on, and hopefully the new government will work on to improve. And I would say it's not only the government that is responsible, it's also us as business owners. This is something that is done through a process where if you want to improve, you need to work government, academia, civil society, and private sector together. That's the only way that you get change. And education is a very important part of it.
Yeah,
Yes, Vijay.
I'd like to add to that. Thailand is a democracy country. So for now, it's very stable compared to the surrounding countries around it. For example, Vietnam, they're communists, right? Laos are communists. You cannot buy land. You can only rent them, right? Burma right now is in war. And Cambodia is a militaristic government run by military. So Thailand is actually, for now, a very attractive place to be investing in, and it's a very safe place, politically stable place to be investing in, because it's a democracy. We vote for our leaders, and we can own land here. Yeah, not rent them.
Yeah, actually, I mean, taking off from Tommy's question, I think, I guess the bigger question really, not so much about political changes, but whether the continuity of policies, whether there is certainty in the business environment, because I guess that's what you'll be most concerned about. Is that something that you have in Thailand? Stability in the business environment, continuity in the business environment. What's your take on that question?
I mean, I think if you've been here long enough, like some of us, for decades, you realize that these political changes are all part and parcel. It's temporary. Actually, that's the only thing that is constant, the change in government. So it's about getting used to it. Businesses, I mean, if we can get help from the government, that'll be great. It doesn't come naturally, but businesses on its own, we need to be resilient, we need to be adaptable, we need to adjust to the environment, to the country, the culture that we're in. So, of course, there is a concern and a worry for, the new Prime Minister, a little bit of political instability. I would say actually a little bit more than before, because I think back then when I first moved here in 2010, when there was, I think shortly after there was a coup, it was still very safe, and you didn't feel like, threatened in any way. But in recent times, the protest that's been happening, you observe that the locals, the Thai people, have been more vocal, more frustrated, more, slightly more violent. So I hope this is not like a trend, because for businesses, this is not good. Another military coup or another, such unstable situations is not good for businesses, for SMEs, or for it's unstable. It makes, and that's one of the factors that make Thailand a welcoming place, because it's safe. So the moment it's not safe, people start to think about where they should move to, because it's no longer a good place to work, to live in. Yeah. And I think another factor that I would like to raise that Jimmy pointed out is the increasing minimum wage. So that's one of the challenges. I think that's been one of the policies that the current government has been talking about, increasing the minimum wage. So by increasing that to about 600 baht, that would be almost double the current minimum wage. That would increase the cost of labor by a lot. So that would make people rethink if the cost of doing business is really more attractive here, or Laos, Vietnam, or anywhere else, because those places are also developing. So SMEs or like businesses like restaurants, they would consider that, because the population is huge as well, and the income is growing over there, and there is demand. So why not move to somewhere else? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're if you're touching, sorry, now I'm jumping in here, but if
It's
you're
got-
touching on the labor cost, labor cost is it's all relevant. What the government is, or the former government proposed, was a minimum labor countrywide. So in 76 provinces, you were going to pay the same, and Bangkok or surrounding provinces, they are already paying more than that. If you want to have labor, you're paying more than that. But if you're looking at the less, the poorer provinces, they cannot take that increase overnight. It's impossible for them. Now, what there should be a focus on is not about the increase in salary. It should be a focus on increase in salary together with productivity, because productivity is what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there should be a policy around productivity gain, because if you are increasing productivity, again, as business owners, we play a part in that change. You will have dual vocational education, for example. You can bring in and train your own workforce. It's not all about importing new workforce. There's a lot of available labor in Thailand, but it's a matter of giving them the opportunity and training them to the skills that you need for your operation. So I think, sometimes we focus too much on one thing, which is, it's going to, cost of production is going to be more expensive. Sure, cost of production is more expensive if you do nothing. But if you invest a bit in innovation and in technology, and you train your staff to be more productive, then are you making more money or are you not making more money? So I think, again, government should create policies that encourage businesses to take part in that training process, and by that also building the future workforce.
Yeah, productivity is something that's been discussed for many, many years now, raised as a matter of concern. But actually, I'd like to ask you, Vibeke, because, there have been a lot of calls to increase productivity, but have you also seen bright spots? Have you seen good examples of businesses that have done the right thing, implemented training while also increasing wages? Have you seen some examples?
We see that all the time. I mean, it's if you look at bigger corporations, they will have their own training studio or training centers, not studios. They will have their own training centers. So if you take the automotive industry, they will train their workers within the new way of making cars, because making cars today is not putting screws in. It's very different processes. You will also find Japanese industry. They have their own training centers. I find that many industries, they build their own training centers. I'm from the jewelry industry, and I try to work closely now with Jamopolis, which is a big industrial estate, and I try to work with them on how can we build the future workforce. Again, by looking at not only bringing in workers from the north of Thailand, but looking at what we have here in Bangkok. So as an example, my company has taken on 8 students. I'm an SME, so I don't take so many, but we've taken on 8 students where we do the vocational training, and they will stay with my company for 2 years. Bigger corporations, they have 200, 300 that they train. So I think there's a lot done by the private sector. If you take also bigger Thai corporations, they have their own training centers. So there's a lot being done, but I think we can advocate more for also the middle-sized companies to be part of that process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best ones to train are the ones that actually know what type of future skills are needed. And parallel with this, because I think it's two, one is to train workforce for the future skills. Second one is there is a need for reform in the education system. We need to have education institutions that teach for the future skills, not for past skills, and maybe a bit more free flow, especially when it comes to new innovation, new technology. more easy access and free flow of skills, especially higher skills to come across borders. So part of that, what FCCT is working on is again a liberalization of the service sector, because that's one of the areas that is difficult to bring those skills in, because it's looked at as a skill, as a service. Mm-hmm. So I think there's many good examples, and again, government has a role to create some policies that are attractive for us businesses, and we businesses, we should take part in that change.
Thank you. So there's a whole long list there. But my next question is really about what's your, biggest pain point? What's the biggest challenge for you as a foreign investor in Thailand? Or challenges, if you want to list more.
Are you asking me now?
To all of you.
And pain points.
Well, I grew up here, so my dad has been in the construction business. We build factory where the turnkey. We build that include starting from design from the ground up. We do civil construction, mechanical, electrical, the whole plant. We started off at 95, 96, which is the financial crisis. So it's pretty difficult for him back then. And we mainly built Japanese factories. Japanese factories in Thailand is a big part of the GDP in Thailand. Just Toyota itself is 5% of Thailand's GDP. So the whole Japanese industry in Thailand is more than 30% of Thailand's GDP. So right now, after COVID, the Japanese factory starts to decline and move out of Thailand. And in that place, Chinese factory comes into Thailand. So right now, the past 2-3 years, we've been building Chinese factories instead. So we have to keep adapting to the changes that's going on, whether it's Japanese, Chinese, or whatever country they're from. We're ready to service them. We're ready to build. So it's the changes that we have to adapt to, mostly, not exactly the difficulty of the environment itself, but globally. Yeah, and mostly the labor, we don't have much a problem from the labor, because most of our workers are Thai local workers. We don't use illegal workers or imported workers. Yeah, so that's not a problem for us. And yeah, mostly right now it's Chinese companies that's coming to Thailand. So luckily I can speak Chinese, so I can still work with them. Yeah. So but my not so fortunate for my Japanese, partners and stuff. They don't have any factories to build. Yeah, it's pretty tough for them. Yeah, depends on where you're at, your advantages. I'm Taiwanese, right? We don't really get along with Chinese, but we're businessmen, so we don't care politics. Yeah, as long as you have business we can talk about it. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. What about you? Biggest challenges?
I have since you provided the questions in advance, I have a list here.
Okay, sure.
So when it comes to challenges, I think this is not only for foreign investors. This is for everyone. I mean, the trade tension, geopolitical uncertainties is affecting us all. It impacts investments. It impacts Thailand, especially where export is very high. And other areas, the fluctuation in currency. Just in this past year, it's gone from 37 to now 34. If you start the year with budgeting at 37 and now you're receiving 34 as an exporter, believe me, it's extremely painful. And this, if you go over time, over the many years, I mean, I've been here 35 years, so I've seen it all the way up to, I think the highest was 52, 54. Not for very long, but the fluctuation in currency is something that you have to really budget for. And it is making you vulnerable. Regulatory changes, dealing with supply chain disruption, managing rising operational cost, all of these are factors that affect your competitiveness. So it's areas that you have to look at. The bureaucratic tapes, despite improvements, We still face challenges when it comes to a complex bureaucracy, and sometimes it's not only the complex bureaucracy, it's also the language barrier. The language barrier really plays a key role in this for foreign investors. So the misunderstanding or let's say wrongly guided because of language barriers, guidance, so you got because of wrong guidance is strong. Now, when it comes to labor, I think we spoke a lot about it already, but the fact is that Thailand is advocating for new foreign direct investment to be new industry, new innovation, new technology. We need to be sure that we have the workforce available for that. And I think that's one area that, again, it's not only Thailand, but it's an area that we really need to focus on. We need to focus on training the reskill, upskill, but also the new skills. And allowing, it needs to be done in two stages. One is to train existing staff, but also allow a more freer flow of labor. And one area that really affects everybody at the moment is the ESG and the requirements around ESG. Now, for bigger corporations, they may have a bigger team to handle the requirements, but the compliance process may be even harder for them. But when it comes to SME, the government needs to allow time. They need to allow that it's a journey to comply, because it cannot happen overnight. The cost, if you want to comply to ESG fully, is tremendously high. And I believe, especially when you're doing exports, the demand from your customers is very high. The demand, especially from Europe, is very high. We have CBAM coming in very soon. And are we ready to face this? No, we're not ready to face this. So I think there's a lot that needs to be done. And again, the bigger corporations, they are doing a lot in this. FCCT signed an MOU with K-Bank to work with the private sector to share knowledge and to prepare companies for the requirements when it comes to ESG. So yeah, there's a few things that needs to be worked on.
A few things. That's quite a long list. Jackie, do you have anything to add?
I think you covered quite a lot.
Okay, all right.
Let you go first next.
I mean, Jimmy, you had talked a bit about this, about how it's inevitable that companies would move to Laos, but I wanted to... Elsewhere.
It doesn't have to be Laos.
Right, doesn't have to be Laos. So let's look at it from a different angle, right? There's been another perspective that companies could use Thailand as a base, and then use that to branch out to regional countries, but still keeping Thailand as a base. What do you and your peers think about that concept? Maybe Jimmy, you can begin.
You mean
Branching out.
if
Using Thailand as a base to branch out.
Okay, yes, that is true, because as in China, that's happening in China, they don't just shut down their main factory in China and move here. No, they expand here. They expand part of their factories here, which is what we can also do. We don't completely shut down the Thai factory, but we move part of it outside, right? Because due to the if you increase the labor costs and the everything cost goes up, you cannot compete with your neighbor, the competing foreign countries. You can expand to that foreign country and produce there to get an advantage for your product, which is. Does that answer your question? I mean,
Yes.
You don't shut it down here.
Yes.
You just expand. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So is this something that is a popular idea at
Yes,
this point?
yes, in China, yes.
Right.
In Taiwan as well, because most of the the factories in China, they're owned by Taiwanese. The semiconductors, the chip, not the chips, but the PCB boards, they're owned by Taiwanese owner. They have factories in China, but now they're expanding to Thailand. They're not shutting down their Chinese company. They're just expanding here to get an advantage to export, because also due to the trade wars that are going on, the U.S. are putting tariffs on everything, right? So they have to have a second manufacturing base. Either they ship their semi-products here and then they repackage it and say made in Thailand and ship it out to US. I think that's one of the ways that they're doing it, to avoid the tax.
Okay.
I mean the tariffs.
Let's look at the other industries, like this idea of basing yourself in Thailand and then branching out to the region.
Yes.
Does that also apply to the other industries?
I think if you look at ASEAN, or let's say the location of Thailand, we are really in the center of ASEAN. So there's a lot of opportunities. Now, BOI actually is promoting IBC, the International Business Center, or the headquarters to be in Thailand. The challenge we have there is, again, if you're under BOI, then let's say work permit and visa is not really the issues. But if you're not under BOI, then it becomes complex, because your work permit is in Thailand, or is it in, let's say, Singapore, or in Malaysia, or in Vietnam. A lot of companies are located in more than one country. All the multinationals, they are located, and sometimes they do production across borders. So I think there's lots of opportunities there. I always say we should do like EU. We should have ASEAN with one entry when it comes to custom, because then you can work across borders with the manufacturing. Certain things Thailand is strong at, other things Laos is strong at, other things Vietnam is strong at. If you had freer movement of the goods, then I think it could make the whole region more competitive. But in general, yes, it's something that companies are looking at, companies are doing already within our member group, but there are a lot of challenges. Unless you are within BOI, there are challenges when it comes to the work permit and visa regulations.
I'll give you another example. Suzuki has been they have their factory in Thailand for a long time, but this year they're shutting down. They're moving their production to India, right? So you might think, so what happens to all the old cars Suzuki that, do we get service, or what happens then, right? How can you produce in India and then you sell in Thailand, because the tax is really high from India to Thailand? No. They produce their parts in India and then they ship it to Indonesia to assemble, right? From there on, you have the tax and from Indonesia to Thailand very low, so they can import from the complete knockdown cars in Indonesia, produced there, and then sell in Thailand at a cheaper price than it's produced in Thailand. So it's a strategy. It doesn't necessarily have to be produced here. They can get it produced elsewhere and then import it and still be able to compete with the other brands, right?
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay. Are there any more questions from the floor at this point? No? Okay. If not, I'd like to, end this discussion with a question that's a lot more personal. Okay. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given about investing in Thailand? You can decide who goes first.
I mean, I think if you're familiar with Thai language, chai yen yen, to be very cool in your heart, very patient, and also to be, I would say, to be truthful, to get to know the Thai culture, like get to understand truly the Thai culture, the Thai nature, the Thai language, because a lot of the, take for example, the government documents and all that, they're all conducted in Thai. So it was previously mentioned, if you don't understand the Thai language, a lot of miscommunication can happen, and that would result in maybe your business not even being able to start. So it's important to be sincere in understanding and appreciating and assimilating into the Thai culture, and don't compare it to say like, why is it not like Germany, why is it not like Singapore? Because if it's like, if you wanted it to be like Singapore, then go to Singapore. So that's what I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make it a little bit less personal first and then personal after. So I think it's very important for anybody who look at investing in Thailand is to do your homework. Do your homework before you arrive. Study the advantages of being part of BOI, EEC, or IEAT, or go into an industrial estate, like for example in my industry, the Gemopolis. Do your homework and see what benefits or incentives you can get, and what fits your business the best. Focus on long term, not short term. If you invest in a country, you shouldn't be in it there for 2-3 months just to exit again. I mean, you should be there in for a long term. Regulatory overhead or anything going from starting, like I said, DBD has this that you now can register a company online. The fact is, you do need a lawyer. You need somebody who knows the Thai law and who understands the language and reads the language. So invest in professional help, not in a legal firm that you found down the street. I mean, really do it right from the start, and then your business will be far easier. And I think it's also very important that somehow you have a source where you can know about change in regulation, because there are frequent or quite often changes in regulation. So you could be in a situation where you don't comply to the law, but you thought you did comply. And self-promotion, join a chamber. I mean, join a network. The network is key. I've been here for 35 years. I started my own business 30 years ago. And without the chamber and the support from business leaders there and those that have already been through some of the challenge I had to go through, I wouldn't have succeeded. And the second one is, don't only stay with expats. Join a local network. I mean, when you know the Thai culture and you have Thai friends, your enrichment of being in this country is so far higher, and your, let's say, success in business, in my opinion, will be far better. So that was the personal side on it.
Thank you. Jimmy?
Yeah, so like Ms. Vibeke said, do your research. Know if you qualify for BOY's incentive, like see which category your products, if they're categorized in whatever class of BOI it is, and see the incentive and benefits they provide, and understand the Thai people, understand their culture, because Thai people, they're actually very nice people, because it's a Buddhist country, but they're also very, prideful people. Right? If you don't go at them first, they won't come at you. So understand how to deal with them, especially if you're the boss. Don't directly, be too, go conflict. Yeah, don't be in conflict with them. Use Thai people to control Thai people. There's techniques to do that. Yeah, you have to understand how to use them. Mainly because Thai people, they've never been under control of any foreign country before. So their nature is very relaxed, very calm. They don't have much ambition, right? Which is a good thing. So it provides opportunities for foreigners to come in and make money, do business, right? So, but that's a good thing for foreign people that comes in, because their nature is they have not much ambition. You can see the rich people, the elites in Thailand, they're not actually 100% Thai. They're Thai Chinese, right? Even I don't want to talk too much about that, but yeah, you can see that the 100% Thai people, they're actually very nice people, right? They're very down to earth, they don't have much ambition to go forward. They're just, I just earned this much, I'll spend this much, that's it, simple life. Yeah. So, yeah, do your research and consider and think about the long term. It might not be Thailand, like I said, it could be neighboring countries. Do your research, see what field you're in and what is most suitable for your business before you jump in, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay,
I hope
so
it helps.
stay calm, understand Thailand, do your research. All right.
Right.
Thank you very much. And please join me in thanking our panelists tonight. Thank you very much.